Before we begin, please note that I am not a financial advisor, CPA, or attorney. The information provided in this presentation is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. You should consult with a qualified professional for advice tailored to your individual situation. This video is intended for a United States audience, as property tax laws vary significantly by country. Imagine this for a second. You did it. You finally bought your first home. You scrimped and you saved for that down payment. You navigated a brutal market. You signed a stack of paperwork so thick it could stop a bullet. And for the first few months, it's pure bliss. You're painting walls, you're picking out furniture, you're living the American dream. Your monthly mortgage payment is exactly what you planned for. You've got this. Then, one day, an official-looking envelope arrives. It's not junk mail. You open it and your heart sinks. It's a notice from the county. Your new property tax assessment. And starting next month, your total housing payment is jumping. Not by $20, not by $50. It's going up by $300, $400, maybe even $500. Every single month. Suddenly, that comfortable budget you built is shattered. The dream feels a little more like a financial nightmare. This isn't a scare tactic. This is the single most common and most devastating financial shock a first-time homebuyer in the United States experiences. It's the property tax gut punch, and it happens because nobody, not your lender, not your real estate agent, and certainly not the seller, properly prepared you for how this system actually works. But that ends today. This isn't just another video explaining a boring topic. This is your financial survival guide. This is the crash course you should have received before you ever signed that closing paperwork. Over the next 10 parts, we are going to pull back the curtain on the entire, confusing world of property taxes. I'm going to arm you with the knowledge to not only understand your tax bill, but to anticipate it, to budget for it, and most importantly, to fight it when it's wrong. By the end of this, you will know more than 99% of homeowners about a cost that will be with you for as long as you own your home. You will be in control. So why is this so confusing? Why does this trap so many people? It's because property tax isn't one simple thing. It's a messy system involving 3 different players: the assessor, the auditor, and the tax collector. They all speak a language filled with bizarre jargon like millage rates, special assessments, levies, and homestead exemptions. And to make it even worse, the rules are completely different depending on your state, your county, and sometimes even your specific city. The property tax code in Texas looks nothing like the one in California, which is wildly different from Florida's. It's designed to be confusing, but we can simplify it. We can boil it all down to 3 core pillars you absolutely have to understand. Pillar number 1, the calculation. How is your tax bill actually created? What's the math? Pillar number 2, the collection. How do you actually pay this thing? Is it part of your mortgage? Do you pay it directly? What is an escrow account and why does it feel like a black hole for your money? And pillar number 3, the challenge. How do you fight back? What are your rights when you believe the county has overvalued your home and is trying to overcharge you? We're going to cover all 3, but today we start with the most critical one, the calculation. How do they come up with that number that can make or break your budget? The formula at its core is deceptively simple. It's your home's assessed value multiplied by the local tax rate. That's it. But the devil, as they say, is in the details. Let's break down that first part. Assessed value. This is the number 1 point of confusion. The assessed value is not the price you paid for your house. Let me say that again. The assessed value is not the market value. It's not the appraisal value. And it's not what Zillow says your home is worth. The assessed value is a specific valuation calculated by your local county government for the sole purpose of taxation. Now here's the trap. When you were looking at a house online, you probably saw an estimated monthly payment, and that estimate included property taxes. But here's what the website didn't tell you. That tax amount was based on the previous owner's assessed value. The seller might have owned the home for 20 years. Maybe they bought it for $100,000. Over the years, their assessed value only crept up slowly, thanks to state laws that often cap how much it can increase each year for an existing owner. So, their annual tax bill might have been, say, $2,000. But then you come along. You just bought that same house for $500,000 in today's market. You have just sent a loud, clear, undeniable signal to the county tax assessor telling them exactly what your property is worth. So what do? At their first opportunity, they will reassess the property based on your new, much higher purchase price. They're not going to tax you based on the old $100,000 value anymore. They're going to tax you based on the new $500,000 value. And your tax bill will explode. That $2,000 annual bill could easily become a $10,000 annual bill. That's an extra $8,000 a year, or nearly $700 a month that you were not prepared for. So the first rule of property taxes is to never, ever trust the seller's current tax bill as an indicator of what you will pay. You need to do your own math. Now let's talk about the second part of the formula, the tax rate. This is often called a millage rate or a tax levy. All it means is the amount of tax you pay per dollar of assessed value. A mill is 1/1000th of a dollar. Or put more simply, it's $1 in tax for every $1,000 of assessed value. Think of it like a sales tax for your house. Your local government, your county, your city, your school district, your library, your fire department, they all need money to operate. So they each determine the tax rate they need to set to fund their budgets. They add all those little rates together to create your total combined millage rate. So if your total millage rate is, say, 25 mils, and your home's assessed value is $300,000, the math is straightforward. You pay $25 for every $1,000 of value. So you take your assessed value $300,000, divide it by 1,000, which gives you 300. Then you multiply that by the millage rate of 25. 300 times 25 is $7,500. That's your annual property tax bill. Every homeowner must understand this basic equation. Assessed value divided by 1,000, multiplied by the millage rate. This is the engine that drives your property tax bill. Your goal as a homeowner is to legally and ethically make sure those inputs, especially the assessed value, are as low as possible. We've just scratched the surface. We've uncovered the core formula and the single biggest trap that blindsides new buyers. You now understand the fundamental difference between market value and assessed value, and you know what a millage rate is. You are already ahead of the game. But knowing the formula is one thing. Knowing how the county assessor uses a secret timeline against you is another. They don't just reassess your home randomly. There's a calendar, a rhythm to their process. And understanding their schedule, knowing when they assess, when you can appeal, and when the deadlines are, is the key to taking control of that assessed value. It's the first step from being a victim of the system to becoming a master of it. And that secret calendar is exactly what we're breaking down next. Think of the property tax year not as a calendar, but as a game board. Every single county in America plays by a similar board, with slightly different rules and dates. But the phases of the game, they are almost always the same. And the player who knows the phases, who anticipates the next move, is the player who wins. The game begins with a single piece of mail. It usually arrives in the spring or early summer. It looks official, maybe a little boring. It's your property assessment notice. Most people glance at it, see a big number, get a little knot in their stomach, and then file it away with other scary adult paperwork. This is mistake number one, and it's a catastrophic one. That piece of paper is not your tax bill. Let me repeat that because it's the most misunderstood part of this entire process. Your assessment notice is not the bill. It is the opening move from the county assessor. It is their declaration of what they think your home is worth for tax purposes. It's their starting offer in a negotiation you didn't even know you were a part of. The moment that envelope hits your mailbox, a hidden clock starts ticking. This is the most critical period in the entire game. The appeal window, or sometimes it's called the grievance period. It's a laughably short amount of time, often just 30 to 60 days. That's it. You get 1 or 2 months out of the entire year to challenge their number. If you miss that window, the game is over for this year. You lose by default. The number they printed on that paper gets locked in, and the tax bill that follows is non-negotiable. This is not an accident. The system is designed this way. It's built on the assumption that most people will be too busy, too intimidated, or just too uninformed to act within that tiny window. They are counting on you to put that notice in a drawer and forget about it until the real bill arrives months later. By then it's too late. All you can do is pay it. So your first mission as a new homeowner is to find that deadline. Go to your county assessor's or tax collector's website right now. I'm serious, pause this video and do it. Search for Property Tax Appeal Deadline or Assessment Appeal Calendar for your specific county. Find that date and burn it into your brain. Put it on your calendar with a dozen reminders. That date is your D-Day. It is your single point of leverage for the entire year. Once you have that date, the next phase of the game is preparation. This is the time between receiving the notice and the appeal deadline. This is your training montage. You don't just file an appeal saying, "This seems too high." That's like showing up to a gunfight with a strongly worded letter. You need evidence. You need ammunition. You need to build a case that your home's assessed value is wrong. We'll get into the exact types of evidence you need in the next part, but for now just know this is your research phase. You'll be looking for what are called comparables, or comps. These are recent sales of homes in your neighborhood that are similar to yours. You're looking for the ones that sold for less than your assessed value. You're building a fortress of facts. The assessor has their opinion printed on that notice. Your job is to counter it not with your own opinion, but with cold hard market data. Let's say you do this. You find the deadline. You gather your evidence. You file the paperwork before the clock runs out. What happens next? This triggers the next phase of the game, the hearing. Now, when people hear the word hearing, they picture a courtroom drama. They imagine a judge in a black robe, a jury, and a slick lawyer cross-examining them on a witness stand. It is absolutely nothing like that. Forget everything you've seen on TV. In most places, this hearing is a surprisingly informal meeting. It might be called a board of review or an assessment appeals board. It's usually just you, sitting at a simple table across from a small group of people, 3 to 5 local citizens who have been appointed to hear these cases. The county assessor or a representative from their office will also be there. It's not a trial, it's a conversation. A very structured conversation, but a conversation nonetheless. The assessor's representative will briefly state why they believe your assessed value is correct. They'll present their evidence. Then it's your turn. You present your evidence. You walk them through the comparable sales you found. You point out the differences between your house and the ones they might have used to value it. Maybe your neighbor's house just sold for a high price, but they have a brand new kitchen and a finished basement, and you don't. This is where you explain that. You are the expert on your own home. No one knows its leaky faucet, its outdated bathroom, or its cracked driveway better than you. This is your chance to tell the story that the numbers on a spreadsheet don't. You have 5 to 15 minutes to make your case. Be polite, be prepared, and be factual. After you've both presented, the board will ask some questions, deliberate for a bit, and then they will make a decision. Sometimes they'll tell you right there. Other times you'll get a letter in the mail a few weeks later. And more often than you'd think, they'll agree with you at least partially. They might not give you the exact value you asked for, but they'll often meet you in the middle, lowering your assessed value significantly. That decision then leads to the final phase of the game, the bill. This is the piece of mail that arrives in the fall or winter. This one is the bill. It takes the final locked-in assessed value, either the original one because you missed the window, or the new lower one you won at your hearing, and multiplies it by the local tax rate or millage rate. And this is where the magic happens. A 10% reduction in your assessed value translates directly to a 10% reduction in your property tax bill. If you saved yourself, say, $3,000 in assessed value, that could mean hundreds of dollars back in your pocket that year. And because assessments often stay flat for a few years, it could mean hundreds of dollars saved every year until the next major reassessment. That's a vacation. That's a new water heater. That's a significant chunk of your emergency fund. All because you understood the secret calendar and refused to be a passive player in the game. So let's recap the board. Move 1. The assessment notice arrives, the county's opening offer. Move 2. The appeal window opens, your short, non-negotiable window to act. Move 3. The hearing, your showdown with the assessor armed with facts. Move 4. The final bill, the result of how well you played the game. Every single year this game resets. Every single year you have a new opportunity to check their work, to hold them accountable, and to ensure you are paying only your fair share, and not a penny more. You've now seen the game board and you know the timeline. You know the when. But knowing when to show up for the battle is only half of it. The other half is knowing what weapons to bring. Showing up with the wrong evidence is just as bad as not showing up at all. The assessor will have their data, their spreadsheets, their algorithms. You need to counter with something better, something more real. And the single most powerful piece of evidence you can bring to that hearing, the one document that can instantly demolish an assessor's argument, is something most new homeowners get in a big packet of documents at closing and then immediately shove in a drawer, never to be seen again. That document is your official, state-licensed, bank-required, Uniform Residential Appraisal Report. Your appraisal. It's probably a thick 50-page document filled with photos, charts, and language you've never seen before. You glanced at the final number when you were buying the house to make sure the loan would go through, and then you buried it. But what you buried wasn't just a piece of paper. You buried your single greatest weapon in the fight for a fair property tax bill. So let's unearth it. Why is this document so powerful? Why does an appraisal carry more weight than almost anything else you can say or do? Comes down to three things: who created it, why they created it, and what's inside it. First, who created it? Your appraisal was not created by you. It was not created by the seller. It was created by a state-licensed third-party appraiser. This is a person whose entire profession, whose license and livelihood, depends on being an impartial, unbiased expert in valuing property. They have no dog in the fight. They don't care if you get the loan, they don't care if the seller makes a profit. Their one and only job is to determine the fair market value of that specific property on a specific date. A tax assessor, on the other hand, is a government employee. They work for the same municipality that wants your tax money. Now, I'm not saying they're all villains twisting their mustaches, but their role is fundamentally different. Their job is to value all the properties in a jurisdiction, often using computer models and mass data, not to spend hours forensically examining your specific home. So right away, you have an independent expert versus a government agent. Who do you think a review board is more likely to see as truly objective? Second, and this is the critical part, why was it created? Your appraisal was created because a bank, a massive financial institution, was about to lend you hundreds of thousands of dollars. They refused to risk a single penny of that money until they had an expert opinion confirming what the house was actually worth. The appraisal isn't for you. It's for the lender. It's their insurance policy against you overpaying for a home. Think about the power of that statement when you're in a hearing. You can look the board in the eye and say, "My lender, one of the largest banks in the country, would not approve my mortgage until this exact valuation from this expert report was confirmed." They bet their money on this number. The county, on the other hand, is betting nothing. They are just assigning a number. You're leveraging the credibility of the entire banking system. And third, what's inside it? This is where you dismantle the assessor's case, piece by piece. An assessor's valuation is based on what's called a mass appraisal model. They take broad data, sales in your zip code, square footage, number of bedrooms, and a computer algorithm spits out a value. It's a shotgun approach. Your appraisal is a sniper rifle. An appraiser physically visited your property. They walked through the rooms. They measured the square footage themselves. They noted the condition of your roof, the age of your HVAC system, the quality of your kitchen cabinets, the crack in the driveway. They documented everything with photographs. Then they did something the tax assessor almost never does with such precision. They found true comparable sales, or comps. These aren't just houses that sold somewhere in your town. These are the 3 or 4 most similar homes, in the closest possible proximity to you, that sold within the last few months. The appraisal report shows you these homes. It has pictures of them. It lists their addresses. And then it does the most important thing of all, it makes adjustments. This is the secret sauce. The report will say, okay, comp number 1 sold for $450,000, but it has a brand new kitchen, and your kitchen is 15 years old. So we need to subtract $10,000 from its value to make it comparable to yours. It also has a 2-car garage, and you only have a 1-car garage. So we need to subtract another $8,000. They do this for every significant difference for every single comp. They adjust for location, condition, square footage, amenities line by line. They are creating an apples-to-apples comparison, showing the math every step of the way, until they arrive at a final, justified, evidence-based value for your home. The tax assessor's comps? They might be half a mile away on a better street with a finished basement you don't have. They rarely make these kinds of granular, specific adjustments. So let's put it all together. Imagine you're at your appeal hearing. You've been sitting there, nervous, listening to the assessor explain their position. They pull up their computer screen. They say, "Well, Mr. or Ms. Homeowner, our model shows your home is worth $500,000. We base this on the sale of 3 homes in your area." They point to a list. You don't recognize the addresses. They're 8 blocks away. Across the busy main street everyone knows is a more desirable area. Then it's your turn. You don't argue. You don't get emotional. You calmly slide 3 copies of your appraisal across the table, 1 for each board member. You say, "I'm not here to offer my personal opinion on my home's value. I'm here to present the findings of a state-licensed appraiser. This report was prepared as a requirement for my mortgage lender, who commissioned it to protect their financial investment in my property. As you can see on page 12, the appraiser conducted a detailed, in-person inspection of my home. On pages 15 through 20, you'll find a detailed analysis of 3 comparable sales. Unlike the county's comps, these are all on my street or the next street over. You'll also see on page 21, the line item adjustments the appraiser made for specific differences in condition, size, and amenities, complete with photographic evidence. After this thorough independent analysis, the expert's final valuation of my property, as of my purchase date, was $425,000. The bank agreed with this valuation. I am simply asking that the county agree with it as well. What can they say? You've just changed the entire dynamic of the room. The burden of proof is no longer on you to prove that their number is wrong. The burden of proof is now on them to prove that a detailed 50-page report from a licensed expert, a report that a major bank trusted enough to lend nearly $500,000 on, is somehow less accurate than their computer algorithm. It is an incredibly difficult argument for them to win. You're not just an emotional homeowner complaining about your taxes. You are a prepared, evidence-based advocate for a fair valuation, and you've brought your own expert witness, bound in a neat little booklet. The appraisal is, without a doubt, your ace in the hole. For most new homeowners, it's all you'll ever need to win a legitimate appeal. But what if it's not? What if you look at your appraisal and realize, to your horror, that the appraiser actually valued your home for more than the county did? Or what if you win the appeal, you get your taxes lowered and you celebrate, only to find that the very next year the assessor jacks your value right back up, sometimes even higher than it was before, almost as if they're punishing you for challenging them? This happens more than you think. Winning the appeal is just the first battle. Keeping your taxes low is the war. And to win the war, you need to know how the system can fight back and what your next move has to be. So what does this retaliation look like? It's rarely a cartoon villain in a smoky backroom cackling as he raises your tax bill. It's far more subtle, more bureaucratic, and therefore more dangerous. The most common weapon they use is something called a spot assessment. And it is the single biggest threat to your victory. Think about it. The entire property tax system is supposed to be built on a foundation of fairness and uniformity. In a perfect world, the county reassesses everyone at the same time, using the same methods, to ensure the tax burden is shared equitably. A mass reassessment might happen every 3, 5, or even 10 years depending on your state. In between those big events, your value should, in theory, only change based on a clear, uniform formula that applies to everyone. A spot assessment throws that entire principle in the trash. It's when the assessor singles out your specific property, or a very small group of properties, for a reassessment outside of the normal county-wide schedule. And what's the number one trigger for a spot assessment? You guessed it. Filing a successful appeal. Imagine this scenario. You do everything right. You gather your comparable sales, you point out the flaws in their data, you present your case, and you win. Your assessed value is lowered from $400,000 to $350,000. You save $2,000 on your tax bill. You celebrate. You feel like you beat the system. Then the next year's assessment notice arrives. You open it, expecting it to be around the $350,000 mark you fought so hard for. Instead, it's $425,000. Your jaw hits the floor. You check your neighbor's assessments online. Theirs all went up maybe 2%, the standard annual adjustment. Yours went up over 20%. You haven't done any renovations. The market hasn't exploded in your specific cul-de-sac. Nothing has changed. Except one thing, you're the one who complained. This is a classic spot assessment, and it's designed to do 2 things. First, it immediately claws back the money you saved and then some. They're recouping their loss. Second, and more importantly, it sends a message. It's a warning shot fired not just at you, but at any of your neighbors who might be thinking of following your lead. The message is simple. Challenge us and we will make your life difficult. It's not worth the trouble. It's an incredibly effective tool for discouraging appeals and maintaining the status quo. Now, in many states, this practice is explicitly illegal. State constitutions and tax laws have what's called a uniformity clause, which mandates that all properties be treated the same. Singling you out because you appealed is a direct violation of that clause. But they have ways of covering their tracks. They'll never admit it was retaliation. They'll say your appeal brought new information to light. They'll claim it triggered a review of your specific neighborhood block. They might even say that in the process of your appeal, they realized your property had unique characteristics that warranted a closer look. It's all bureaucratic jargon designed to justify an action that feels, and often is, punitive. So how do you fight back against a ghost? How do you prove you're being targeted when the system is designed to hide the evidence? This is where you move from defense to offense. This is where you use their own rules against them. Your first move actually happens before you even file your initial appeal. The moment you decide to challenge your assessment, you need to become a meticulous record keeper. You need to create a time capsule of your property. Take pictures. Lots of them. Take wide shots of the exterior from every angle. Go inside and document the condition of every single room. Is the kitchen dated? Photograph the Formica countertops and the 1990s oak cabinets. Is the basement unfinished? Get wide shots of the concrete walls and exposed pipes. Is the paint peeling on the back of the house? Get a close-up. You are creating an undeniable date-stamped record of your property's condition at the time of your appeal. This is your baseline. Because one of the most common tactics after a successful appeal is for the assessor's office to request an in-person inspection. They'll say it's to verify the data or ensure their records are accurate. What they're really doing is a fishing expedition. They are looking for any reason, any excuse to justify raising your value and undoing your appeal victory. They're looking for that bathroom you remodeled without a permit, the deck you added last summer, the finished attic you've been using as an office. Anything that isn't on their official record is ammunition they can and will use against you. Your photographic evidence becomes your shield. It proves the condition of your home before they decided to put you under the microscope. But your most powerful weapon against retaliatory assessments isn't a photograph. It's a legal principle. It's the very same uniformity clause they are violating. Your next appeal, the one you file after they jack up your taxes, is often not about your home's market value. You already won that argument. This new appeal is about fairness. It's a uniformity appeal. The question you are now asking the appeals board is not, is my house worth $425,000? The question is, why was my assessment increased by 20% when every other comparable home in my neighborhood was only increased by 2%? You are no longer arguing about the value of your house. You are arguing that you are being illegally and unfairly taxed in comparison to your neighbors. This is a much harder argument for the assessor to fight. They can't just point to a hot market. They can't just say your house is nice. They have to justify the discrepancy. They have to explain why you are being treated differently. And often they can't because the real reason is one they can never admit in a public hearing. To win this fight, you need their data. And you have a legal right to it. This is where you learn about the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA. It's a federal law, but every state has its own version, often called a sunshine law or right to know law. These laws give you the right to request public records from government agencies, including the property assessor's office. So you file a formal request. You don't just ask for the assessments of the 5 houses you used as comps. You ask for the assessment data for your entire tax parcel, your whole neighborhood. You want the previous year's assessment and the current year's assessment for every single home. You want it in a spreadsheet. They are legally obligated to provide this to you. Now you become a data analyst. You import that data into Excel or Google Sheets. You create a new column and calculate the percentage increase for every single property. Then you sort it. And what you will likely find is a sea of 2s, 3s, and 4s with one giant number sticking out like a sore thumb, your 20%. When you walk into that appeals hearing, you're not just bringing an opinion. You're not just saying it feels unfair. You are bringing a stack of their own official data, neatly organized, that proves a pattern of discriminatory assessment. You can hand it to the board and say, the average assessment increase in my neighborhood of 250 homes was 2.8%. My increase was 21.5%. Please explain to me how this is uniform and equitable. This is how you turn the tables. You use their bureaucracy, their data, their own rules to corner them. You're not just a homeowner complaining about a bill. You are an informed, prepared citizen holding the government accountable to its own laws. This is the war. It's a war fought with data, with records, and with an understanding of the system that is deeper than their own desire to make things easy for themselves. They are counting on you to get angry, to get frustrated, and to give up. They are not prepared for you to be smarter than they are. And winning this second fight doesn't just save you money. It sends a message back to them. You will not be intimidated. And that's a victory that protects you for years to come. But what happens when the fight isn't about retaliation, but about something you did? What about that new deck or finished basement? How do improvements and permits create a tax trap that can follow you for decades? This is the homeowner's dream, isn't it? You're not just buying a property. You're creating a home. That unfinished basement isn't a concrete box. It's a future movie theater, a playroom for the kids, a home gym. That empty patch of lawn out back isn't just grass. It's the spot for a beautiful two-tier deck, perfect for summer barbecues. You start sketching on napkins, pinning ideas online, getting quotes from contractors. The excitement is real. You're adding value to your home, but more importantly, you're adding value to your life. And in the middle of all this excitement, you encounter a single bureaucratic piece of paper that changes everything: the building permit. To most people, a permit seems like a simple, if annoying, step. It's about safety, right? Making sure the electrical work is up to code, ensuring the deck won't collapse during your first party. You pay the fee, you get the inspections, you get the sign-off. You did it the right way. You're a responsible homeowner. But what you may not realize is that in the world of property taxes, a building permit isn't just a permission slip. It's a formal announcement. It's you taking a megaphone and shouting directly into the ear of the tax assessor. Hey, over here. The value of this property is about to go up. Come and get your share. This is the great unspoken trap of home improvement. Every nail you hammer, every wall you build by the book, creates a permanent financial echo. Let's break down how this invisible system works, because it's a pipeline of information flowing directly from your project to your tax bill. When you file for a permit with your local building or planning department, you're creating a public record. You have to describe the work being done: finishing 800 square feet of basement, adding a 150 square foot primary bathroom, building a 400 square foot deck. You also have to declare the estimated cost of the project. This information doesn't just sit in a filing cabinet at the building department. In virtually every jurisdiction in the country, that department has a direct line of communication to the tax assessor's office. It's often an automated, digital feed. The permit is the trigger. It's a bright red flag on your property file that says, "Reassessment needed." So what happens next? Sometime after your project is completed and the permit is closed, the assessor will act. They might send someone out to physically inspect the new improvements, measuring the new space and noting the quality of the finishes. More often, especially for smaller projects, they won't even visit. They'll simply use the information from the permit and industry standard formulas to calculate how much value you've just added to your home. This is where homeowners get blindsided. You spent, say, $60,000 to finish your basement. In your mind, that's the cost. But to the assessor, you didn't just spend $60,000. You added a significant amount of livable square footage and functional utility to your home. They might determine this improvement added $50,000 to your home's assessed value. It's not a one-to-one ratio, but it's often substantial. Now let's do the math and see the trap spring shut. Your home was previously assessed at $400,000. With the new basement, it's now assessed at $450,000. If your local effective tax rate is 1.2%, your old tax bill was $4,800 a year. Your new tax bill? $5,400 a year. You are now paying an extra $600 every single year for the rest of the time you own that home because you finished your basement. Over 10 years, that's $6,000. Over 30 years, it's $18,000 in extra taxes, all stemming from that one project. The deck, the new bathroom, the kitchen remodel, each one starts its own separate compounding tax echo. This creates a perverse incentive, a dangerous temptation to enter the shadowy world of unpermitted work. You hear stories. A neighbor's brother-in-law is a contractor. He says he can do the basement for cash, no permit, no inspections, no problem. You'll save a few hundred on the permit fee, and more importantly, the assessor will never know. Your property taxes will stay the same. Sounds like a win-win. But this is a ticking time bomb. Doing major work without a permit is one of the single biggest financial risks a homeowner can take. First, there's the safety issue. Codes exist for a reason. Faulty wiring can cause fires. Improperly supported structures can collapse. Your homeowner's insurance could even deny a claim if they discover the damage was caused by unpermitted, non-code compliant work. But let's stick to the tax implications. You might think you're being clever, but assessors have ways of finding out. We live in an age of aerial surveillance. High-resolution satellite imagery from services like Google Maps is updated regularly. Assessors can and do use this technology to digitally compare your property year over year. A new deck, a new shed, a new addition, they can often spot it from the sky. A neighbor might report you, either out of spite or genuine concern. But the most common way unpermitted work comes to light is when you decide to sell your home. Imagine this scenario. You've lived in your home for 10 years. That unpermitted basement has been a wonderful space for your family. Now you're ready to sell. You find a buyer, they're excited, and they hire a home inspector. The inspector goes into the basement, looks at the electrical panel, the plumbing, the support beams, and their report comes back with a glaring red flag. Evidence of significant, non-professional, and likely unpermitted renovations found in the basement. The buyer gets spooked and backs out of the deal, or they demand that you rectify the situation before they'll close. Now you're in a nightmare. You have to go to the city, hat in hand, and admit you did the work without a permit years ago. They will likely require you to open up walls to inspect the wiring and plumbing. If it's not up to current code, not the code from 10 years ago but today's code, you have to pay to bring it all up to standard. You'll pay the original permit fee, plus hefty fines and penalties for the violation. And the absolute worst part? Once that permit is officially filed, the tax assessor is notified. They will not only reassess your home's value and raise your taxes going forward, but in many jurisdictions, they have the power to charge you for the back taxes you should have been paying for all the years you had that finished basement. It is the financial equivalent of getting caught, paying all the fines, and still getting the full prison sentence. So what's the answer? The answer is to go into every home improvement project with your eyes wide open. Before you even get a quote from a contractor, your first call should be to your local tax assessor's office. You can speak to them hypothetically. Say, I own a home at this address. I'm considering finishing my 800 square foot basement. Can you give me a rough estimate of how that would impact my assessed value? They are public servants. This is their job. They can give you a ballpark figure. Once you have that number, you can do the math yourself. You can calculate the potential tax increase before you've spent a single dollar. Now, you can build that tax increase into your budget. You can decide if that $60,000 basement is still worth it when you factor in an extra $600 a year in carrying costs. This is the difference between being a victim of the system and being a savvy homeowner who understands it. The permit isn't the enemy. Ignorance is. The tax trap only works if you don't see it. By understanding this process, you take back control. You make improvements to your home on your own terms, fully aware of the long-term financial commitment. You've mastered the part of the tax equation that you directly influence. But this is where things get even more complicated. Because what happens when your tax bill skyrockets, but you haven't built a deck, you haven't finished a basement, you haven't filed a single permit? What happens when the value of your home is reassessed for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with you? When the assessor claims your property is suddenly worth $50,000 more, based not on a new bathroom, but on a flawed algorithm and a sale that happened 3 towns over. This is when you feel powerless. This is when the fight becomes about defending what's already yours against a mistake that could cost you thousands. But here's the secret the system doesn't advertise. You are not powerless. In fact, you have a weapon, a fundamental right baked into the laws of almost every single jurisdiction in this country. It's called the right to appeal. And learning how to use it is the single most important financial skill a new homeowner can develop. This isn't about finding a loophole or cheating the system. It's about holding the system accountable. It's about ensuring fairness. And it starts not with an angry phone call, but with a quiet, calculated strategy. Your first move is the most critical, and it has nothing to do with evidence or arguments. It's about a date. Somewhere on that shocking assessment notice, buried in the fine print, is a deadline. This is the appeal deadline, and it is non-negotiable. It is a guillotine. If you miss it, your right to appeal is gone for the entire year. It doesn't matter if they assessed your 2-bedroom bungalow as a 6-bedroom mansion with a gold-plated swimming pool. You miss the deadline, you pay the tax. So, before you do anything else, find that date. Circle it in red on your calendar. Set 3 different alarms on your phone. Tattoo it on your forehead if you have to. This date is your starting gun. And the race has already begun. Okay, deadline identified. Now we go on the offensive. Your mission is to prove one simple thing. The assessor's value is wrong, and your proposed value is right. To do that, you need to think like an investigator. Your first target is the government's own evidence against you. You need to request a copy of your property record card, sometimes called an assessment worksheet. This document is the foundation of their entire valuation. It's the official story of your home, as told by the assessor's office. And very often, that story is a work of fiction. You can usually get this online from the assessor's website or by visiting their office. When you get it in your hands, you're going to scrutinize it line by line with a fine-tooth comb. What are you looking for? Errors, Simple, factual, undeniable errors. Does it say you have 4 bathrooms when you only have 2.5? That's an error. Does it list your square footage as 2,500 when you know for a fact it's 2,100? That's a major error. Does it claim you have a finished basement when it's just a concrete slab with cobwebs? Error. Central air conditioning when you're sweating through July with window units? Error. A 2-car garage when you only have a carport? Error. These aren't matters of opinion. They are matters of fact. Every single discrepancy you find is a crack in the foundation of their assessment. Make a list. Take pictures that prove the errors. A photo of your unfinished basement is irrefutable. A screenshot from your original real estate listing showing the correct square footage is powerful. This is the low-hanging fruit, the easiest part of your case to build, and sometimes it's all you need to win a reduction. If the government's own data is fundamentally flawed, their conclusion, your home's value, must also be flawed. But what if the property card is mostly accurate? What if they got the square footage and the bathroom count right, but the final dollar value still feels plucked from thin air? This is where the real work begins. Now you have to challenge not their facts but their opinion of value. And you can't fight an opinion with another opinion. You can't just write on the form, "This feels too high." You have to fight their data with better data. Your most powerful ammunition in this fight is what's known as comparable sales, or comps. The assessor likely used a computer model that looked at recent sales in your area to guess your home's value. Your job is to find better, more accurate comparisons. You're going to become a real estate analyst for your own neighborhood. Go on websites like Zillow or Redfin. Use their search filters. You're looking for homes that are as similar to yours as possible, in your immediate neighborhood, that have sold in the last 6 to 12 months before the official assessment date on your notice. This date is key. A sale that happened last week doesn't count. The assessor couldn't have known about it. What makes a good, convincing comp? Think of the 3 S's. Similarity, salience, and span. Similarity means the basics. Same number of beds, baths, similar square footage, similar lot size, same school district. Don't compare your 1960s ranch to a brand new construction colonial, even if they're on the same street. Salience means relevance. The house should be truly comparable. A home that sold as a foreclosure or a short sale, that's a distressed sale. You can argue it's not a good indicator of fair market value. A house on a busy main road while yours is on a quiet cul-de-sac? Highlight that difference. And span refers to time and distance. The closer to your home and the closer to the assessment date, the more powerful the comp. A sale from 3 blocks away 6 months ago is infinitely better than a sale from 2 towns over last year. Your goal is to find 3 to 5 sales of homes that are very similar to yours but sold for less than your assessed value. Print out the listings for each one. Highlight the sales price, the date, the square footage, and the address. This is your primary evidence packet. You're building a data-driven argument that says, look, the actual market, the real-world transactions between willing buyers and sellers, shows that a house like mine is worth X, not the Y you have assessed it at. Now let's add another layer to your case. While you're looking for comps, you also need to document your home's reality. Assessors rarely, if ever, set foot inside your house. Their data is old. Their photos might be from a decade ago when the previous owner put on a new roof. Your reality might be very different. So take pictures. Lots of them. Do you have a kitchen with original 1970s avocado green appliances? Take a picture. Is your foundation showing cracks? Take a picture. Does your roof have curling shingles and look like it's on its last legs? Get on a ladder and safely take a picture. Peeling paint, old single-pane windows, a driveway that's a mess of cracks and weeds. Document it all. This isn't about trashing your own home. It's about countering the assessor's assumption that your property is in average or good condition. If it has significant deferred maintenance, that directly impacts its market value. A buyer would pay less for your house because they know they'll have to spend $20,000 on a new roof. Your assessment should reflect that reality. If the problems are severe, consider getting a contractor's estimate for the repairs. An official quote from a roofer for a $20,000 roof replacement is a powerful piece of evidence. It's not just you saying the roof is old, it's a professional quantifying the cost of that defect. For very high-value properties or very large assessment increases, you might even consider paying for a full, independent appraisal. An appraisal from a state-licensed appraiser is the gold standard of evidence, but it costs several $100s, so you have to weigh the potential tax savings against the upfront cost. Once you have all of this, your marked-up property record card showing errors, your list of lower-priced comparable sales, and your portfolio of photos documenting your home's true condition. You are no longer a victim. You are a plaintiff. You have built a case. You've transformed that initial feeling of helpless anger into a logical, evidence-based argument. You're not just complaining about your tax bill. You're presenting a meticulously researched report on your property's fair market value. Now all that's left is to put it all together and formally submit your appeal, taking your first concrete step to reclaim your money from a system that made a mistake. You've done the hard work. You've become an expert on your own home, a detective uncovering the truth hidden in public records and market data. That report you're holding, filled with comparable sales, photos, and cold, hard facts, that's not just a stack of paper. That is your weapon. It's your closing argument. And submitting your appeal isn't just filling out a form. It's officially entering the arena. The first step is to locate the official appeal form. This is almost always on your county assessor's or tax collector's website, usually under a section called Appeals, Assessment Review, or Board of Equalization. Do not, under any circumstances, just write a letter and hope for the best. The system runs on bureaucracy, and you must use their official key to unlock the door. Download that form, it's usually a PDF, and print out a few copies. You're going to want a practice run. These forms can look intimidating. They're designed by governments, after all. But they all ask for the same basic things: your name, your address, your property's parcel number, that long identification number on your tax bill, the assessor's current valuation of your property, and most importantly, the value you believe your property is worth. This is where your research becomes your anchor. You're not guessing. You're not just picking a lower number that feels good. You are stating the figure that your meticulously gathered evidence proves. Be precise. If your research points to a fair market value of $472,500, you write that exact number. Not around $470K. Not something lower. You write the number your evidence supports. Many forms will also have a section for reason for appeal. This is not the place to write a novel about how your taxes are too high or how the government is unfair. They've heard it all and it doesn't work. Your reason is simple, professional, and fact-based. You'll select the option for overvaluation or incorrect assessment, and in the description box, you'll write something concise and powerful like, "The current assessed value of $525,000 does not reflect the fair market value as of the January 1st lien date, which evidence indicates is $472,500. Supporting documentation is attached." That's it. Short, sharp, and to the point. Now let's talk about assembling your package. You're not just going to staple your form to a jumble of papers. You are going to present a case file that is so professional, so organized, and so undeniable that the person reviewing it immediately thinks, "This person knows what they're doing. We should take this seriously." Start with a simple cover letter. It's one page max. It introduces who you are, the property in question, and a summary of your argument. Think of it as the trailer for your movie. Dear Board of Assessment Appeals, enclosed please find my appeal for parcel number 1-23-4-5. The county's assessment of $525,000 is significantly higher than the property's true market value. I have provided 3 comparable sales from the relevant time period, all within a half-mile radius, which show an average sale price of $475,000. I have also included evidence of necessary repairs that were not accounted for in the assessment. I respectfully request the assessed value be corrected to $472,500. Behind that cover letter, you'll create a table of contents. Yes, a table of contents. Exhibit A, appeal form. Exhibit B, comparable sales analysis. Exhibit C, photographs of property condition. Exhibit D, contractor's estimate for roof repair. Each piece of evidence you've gathered gets labeled as an exhibit. This small step transforms your appeal from a complaint into a formal presentation. It makes their job easier, and when you make a bureaucrat's job easier, they are subconsciously on your side from the very beginning. Then you assemble it. Cover letter on top, followed by the table of contents, your perfectly filled out appeal form, and then each exhibit in order with a cover page for each that just says Exhibit A, Exhibit B, and so on. Make 2 complete copies of this entire package. One is for them and one is for you. You will bring your copy to any future meetings or hearings. Now let's talk about the single most important rule in this entire process: the deadline. Every jurisdiction has a strict, non-negotiable deadline to file your appeal. It could be 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days from when you received your assessment notice. Find this date. Circle it on your calendar. Set 3 reminders on your phone. Tattoo it on your forehead if you have to. If you miss this deadline by 1 minute, it's over. There are no extensions. There are no excuses. Your right to appeal for that year vanishes into thin air. I have heard heartbreaking stories of people with ironclad cases who were a day late and lost their chance to save thousands of dollars. Do not let that be you. Plan to submit your appeal at least 1 week before the deadline. When you're ready, you submit it. Some counties allow online submission, which is fantastic. If you do this, save a digital copy of the submission confirmation. If you have to mail it, you will spend the extra $7 to send it via certified mail with a return receipt. This is your legal proof that they received it and when they received it. It eliminates any possibility of them claiming it got lost in the mail. If you submit it in person, you will politely ask the clerk to stamp your personal copy as received with that day's date. You walk out of that building with proof. No proof it didn't happen. And then you wait. This is often the hardest part. You fired your shot and now there's silence. It can take weeks, sometimes even a few months to hear anything back. The county is processing hundreds, maybe thousands of these appeals. Your file is in a queue. During this time, continue to pay your property tax bills as they come due. Do not withhold payment thinking it will give you leverage. It won't. It will only cause you to incur late fees and penalties, and it will immediately prejudice the appeals board against you. You pay the disputed tax under protest, with the understanding that you'll get a refund if you win. Eventually, you will get a response. And this is where the path splits into 2. The first and most common path is an invitation to an informal review. This is a fantastic sign. It means someone looked at your beautifully organized case file and thought, they might have a point. This review is often just a phone call or a short meeting with one of the staff assessors from the office, not the formal appeals board. This is your first best chance to win your case without a major fight. The assessor will have your file in front of them, and they'll ask you a few questions. They might present their own data. The key here is to be polite, professional, and calm. You are not arguing with them. You are collaborating with them to find the correct value. Stick to your facts. Yes, I see the comparable sale you're citing, but as you can see in my Exhibit B, that home has a fully renovated kitchen and a 2-car garage, whereas my property has an original kitchen and a 1-car carport. You are simply pointing them back to the evidence you already submitted. Often a new lower value will be offered right there on the phone. They might not come all the way down to your number, but they might meet you in the middle. And a settlement that saves you $1,000 a year without having to go to a formal hearing is a massive win. But what if they don't budge? What if the informal review doesn't happen, or you can't come to an agreement? That's when you're headed down the second path. The formal hearing. You'll receive a notice in the mail with a date and time to appear before the official assessment appeals board or the Board of Equalization. This is the main event. This is the courtroom scene in the movie. It's a panel of impartial citizens, you on one side of the table, and a representative from the assessor's office on the other. Both of you will present your case. Both of you will present evidence. And the board will make a final binding decision. This is where the stakes get real. It can be intimidating, but it's also the moment where all of your preparation pays off. It's your chance to speak directly to the decision makers and lay out the undeniable truth of your property's value. The informal review is a negotiation. The formal hearing is a presentation of fact. And winning that hearing requires a completely different strategy. You have to know how to present your evidence, how to question the assessor's data, and how to structure your argument in the 10 or 15 minutes you're given. The path you're on, a quick and easy informal settlement or a full-dress formal hearing, is about to be decided, and you need to be ready for both. Because the strategies that win a friendly phone call are not the same ones that will win over a formal board. In the next part, we are going to break down the battle plan for each scenario. We'll cover the exact script to use in an informal review to get the assessor to agree with you, and the step-by-step method for presenting your case in a formal hearing so powerfully that the board has no choice but to rule in your favor. You've made it this far. Now it's time to prepare for the final handshake, or the final showdown. So you've decided to go to the mat. You've filed your appeal, you've gathered your evidence, and now you have a date with the appraisal review board. This isn't just a meeting, it's a performance. And you are the star, the director, and the lead attorney all rolled into one. Your mission is to present a case so clear, so logical, and so overwhelmingly supported by facts that the board members have an easy, justifiable path to siding with you. First things first, organization is your greatest weapon. You don't walk into a final exam with a shoebox full of loose notes. You walk in with a perfectly organized binder. And that's exactly what you're going to create. We'll call it your appeal brief. Get a simple 1-inch 3-ring binder and some plastic sheet protectors. You are going to make one master copy for yourself, and at least 3 additional identical copies for the board members. This single act of preparation signals that you are serious, respectful of their time, and have a well-reasoned argument. It immediately sets you apart from 90% of the people they will see that day. What goes into this binder? It's your story told in documents. The first page should be a simple cover sheet. Your name, your property address, the parcel ID number, and the date of the hearing. The second page is your 1-page summary. This is your opening argument in written form. It should state the county's current assessed value, the value you believe is correct, and a bulleted list of the key reasons why, referencing the evidence that follows. For example, the county's assessment of $500,000 is inaccurate due to 1. Directly comparable sales from the past 6 months averaging $450,000. See Tab A. 2. Significant structural issues requiring an estimated $25,000 in repairs. See Tab B. 3. An error in the property record card, which incorrectly lists an extra bathroom. See Tab C. Behind this summary you'll have tab sections. Tab A. Comparable sales. Here you'll put the property data sheets for your 3 to 5 best comps. On each sheet, use a highlighter to mark the key data points: the sale price, the sale date, the square footage, and the address. It's also incredibly powerful to include a map showing the location of your house and the location of each comp. A visual representation that your comps are truly nearby is worth 1,000 words. Tab B. Property condition. This is your photographic evidence. Print out clear color photos of every problem with your house: the cracked foundation, the peeling paint, the water-stained ceiling, the ancient furnace. For each photo, add a caption explaining what it is, and if you have one, include the corresponding contractor's estimate for the repair. If you have a full inspection report, include the summary page here. You are building a mountain of proof that your home is not the perfect specimen the assessor's office might think it is. Tab C. Factual errors. This is where you put a copy of your property record card with the errors highlighted in bright yellow. Next to it, place your own evidence proving the error. If they say you have 4 bathrooms and you only have 3, include photos of every bathroom and a floor plan if you have one proving your case. If they have the wrong square footage, include the builder's original plans or a certified appraisal with the correct measurement. Every factual error you can prove undermines the credibility of their entire assessment. Now let's talk about game day. The hearing itself. Dress professionally. Business casual is perfect. You're not going to court, but you are in a formal setting. Arrive early. Watch a few cases before yours to get a feel for the room, the board members, and the process. When your name is called, walk up confidently, place a copy of your binder in front of each board member, and keep your master copy. Take a deep breath. This is your stage. You'll be sworn in, and then they'll ask you to state your case. Do not ramble. Do not get emotional. You are going to calmly and professionally execute the plan. You will deliver your opening statement, almost word for word from the summary page in your binder. Good morning. My name is John Smith, and I own the property at 123 Main Street. I am here today to respectfully appeal the county's assessed value of $500,000. Based on the evidence I've provided you in the brief, a more accurate and equitable market value for my home is $450,000. I'd like to quickly walk you through the 3 primary reasons for this discrepancy, which you can follow along in the binder I've provided. See what you did there? You took control. You set the agenda. You defined the problem and proposed a solution, all in 30 seconds. Now you walk them through it one tab at a time. If you'll please turn to Tab A, you will see the 3 most recent and relevant comparable sales in my immediate neighborhood. The first property on Oak Avenue is nearly identical in square footage and age to my home, but it sold just 2 months ago for $455,000. As you can see from the listing photos, it features a fully updated kitchen with granite countertops, something my home does not have. The other 2 comps tell a similar story, with an average sale price of $450,000. Be concise. Stick to the facts. Let the evidence do the talking. Then move to the next point. Now if you'll turn to Tab B, this section details the current condition of my property. The photos show significant deferred maintenance, including a roof that is at the end of its life. I've included 3 separate estimates from licensed roofers, all indicating a replacement cost of around $15,000. This is a material defect that directly and negatively impacts what a buyer would be willing to pay for my home today. Finally, you hit them with the knockout punch, the factual errors. And lastly, in tab C, you'll see a copy of the county's own property record card for my home. It incorrectly states that the home has central air conditioning. It does not. It has window units, which is a significant difference in value. This error alone inflates the assessed value, and it calls into question the accuracy of the rest of the data. After you've presented your evidence, the assessor from the county will likely have a chance to rebut. Do not interrupt. Do not argue. Listen carefully and take notes. They might present their own comps or try to downplay your evidence. This is expected. Then the board will ask you questions. This is where you shine. Answer honestly and directly. If they ask about one of the assessor's comps, be prepared. Yes, I am familiar with that property. It's on the next block, but it's important to note that it sits on a double lot and has a brand new 2-car garage, which my property lacks. That's why I didn't believe it was a truly comparable sale. Always be respectful. Address them as sir, ma'am, or by their title if you know it. Never ever get angry or defensive. You are the calm, rational voice of reason in the room. If you don't know an answer, it is perfectly acceptable to say, "I'm sorry, I don't have that specific information with me, but what I can tell you is," and then pivot back to a fact you do know that supports your case. Once the questions are done, you'll be given a chance to make a brief closing statement. This is not the time to introduce new evidence. It's time to summarize your greatest hits. In conclusion, the evidence clearly shows that the current assessment is too high. The comparable sales in the neighborhood average $450,000. The property requires significant, costly repairs, and the county's own records contain factual errors. For these reasons, I respectfully request that you adjust the assessed value of my property to $450,000. Thank you for your time and your service to the community. And that's it. You've done it. You've presented a logical, fact-based, and undeniable case. You were professional, organized, and respectful. You have given the board every possible reason to rule in your favor. They might make a decision right there, or they might mail it to you later. But regardless of the outcome, you can walk out of that room with your head held high, knowing you gave it your absolute best shot. You've navigated the system, you've advocated for yourself, and you've mastered a process that terrifies most homeowners. But what if, after all this, the numbers still don't make sense? What if you get a tax bill that feels completely disconnected from the value of your home, even after an appeal? Well, there's one more layer to this onion, one more piece of the puzzle that explains how your final tax bill is actually calculated. Because the assessed value is only half the equation. The other half is something called the millage rate, and understanding how that rate is set, and more importantly how it can change, is the final key to truly understanding your property tax. So let's break down this term, millage rate. It sounds like something from a dusty old law book, but it's actually pretty simple once you pull back the curtain. The word mill comes from the Latin word millésimum, which means thousandth, and that's exactly what it is. 1 mil is 1,000th of a dollar, or 0.001. So a millage rate is simply the amount of tax you pay for every $1,000 of your property's assessed value. If your city has a millage rate of, say, 10 mils, it means you'll pay $10 in tax for every $1,000 of your home's assessed value. Let's use that $100,000 assessed value from our last example. If the millage rate is 10, you take your assessed value, divide it by 1,000, and multiply by the rate. So, 100,000 divided by 1,000 is 100. 100 times 10 mils is $1,000. That's your property tax bill. Simple, right? The math isn't the hard part. The hard part, the part that trips everyone up, is understanding where that rate comes from. It doesn't just appear out of thin air. Unlike your home's assessed value, which is determined by an assessor looking at data and formulas, the millage rate is determined by something far more fundamental: your community's needs. It is the direct result of a budget. Think about your town or city. It has expenses. It has to pay for police officers, firefighters, and teachers. It has to maintain roads, parks, and libraries. It has to fund the school district, the county services, and maybe even a local hospital district. All of those things cost money. A lot of money. Every year, your local government bodies, the city council, the county commission, the school board, all sit down and figure out exactly how much money they need to operate for the upcoming year. They create a budget. Let's imagine a small hypothetical town called Riverbend. The The Riverbend City Council determines they need a budget of $20 million next year to cover everything from paving Main Street to funding the summer concert series in the park. Now here's the magic. They take that total budget, $20 million, and they divide it by the total assessed value of all the taxable property in Riverbend. Let's say that after the assessor has valued every single home, every office building, every factory, and every vacant lot, the total assessed value for the entire town is $1 billion. So, they take the $20 million budget they need, and they divide it by the $1 billion total assessed value. The result is 0.02. To turn that into a millage rate, you multiply by 1,000. So, 0.02 times 1,000 is 20. The millage rate for Riverbend is set at 20 mils. This is the critical link that most homeowners miss. The millage rate isn't an arbitrary tax percentage. It is the precise rate required to fund the community's approved budget, based on the total value of property within it. It's a community-wide calculation, and this is why your property tax can change, even if your home's value stays exactly the same. Let's go back to Riverbend. Imagine it's the next year. The town is growing. They decide they need to hire 2 new police officers and buy a new fire truck. After a series of public meetings, the city council approves a new, larger budget of $22 million. Let's assume the total property value in town hasn't changed. It's still $1 billion. What happens to the millage rate? Well, they take the new budget, $22 million, and divide it by $1 billion. The result is 0.022. Multiply that by 1,000, and the new millage rate is 22 mils. It went up. So if your home's assessed value was still $200,000, your tax bill just went from $4,000 to $4,400. Your property didn't change, but the needs of your community did, and the millage rate was adjusted to meet those needs. This is what happens when voters approve a school bond or a levy to fund a new library. They are directly voting to increase the budget, which in turn increases the millage rate. But here's the other side of the coin, and this is just as important. What happens if property values across the entire town go up? Let's say Riverbend has a hot real estate market. The total assessed value of all property in town jumps from $1 billion to $1.2 billion. But let's say the town's budget needs stay the same, at the original $20 million. Now what happens? They take the $20 million budget and divide it by the new higher total assessed value of $1.2 billion. The result is now 0.0167. Multiply that by 1,000, and the new millage rate is 16.7 mils. The rate actually went down. This is a concept that blows people's minds. A widespread increase in property values does not automatically mean a massive tax hike for everyone. If the government spending stays the same, a rise in the tax base, the total value of property, can lead to a lower millage rate for everyone, because the tax burden is spread across a larger pool of value. Of course, in the real world, budgets rarely stay the same, but understanding this dynamic is key. It shows that the value of your home and the tax rate you pay are two independent, moving parts of the same machine. And it gets a little more complex because you're not just paying one millage rate. Your total millage rate is actually a stack of several smaller rates from different government entities that have the authority to levy taxes in your area. This is why your property tax bill is often itemized with a list of strange-sounding districts. You'll have a rate for the city, a rate for the county, a huge one for the local school district, maybe another one for a community college, a water management district, a fire and rescue service, or a library system. Each of these entities calculates its own budget, determines the total assessed value of property within its specific boundaries, and sets its own millage rate. Your final bill is the sum of all of them added together. This is why you can live on one side of a street and pay a different amount in property taxes than your neighbor across from you. You might be in a different school district, or one of you might be inside the city limits while the other is in an unincorporated county area. Each of those jurisdictions has its own budget, its own needs, and therefore its own millage rate that gets stacked onto your bill. So where's your power in all of this? With the assessed value we talked about before, your power lies in the appeals process, in making sure your individual value is fair. But with the millage rate, your power is as a citizen. It's in attending city council meetings. It's in paying attention to the school board's budget proposals. It's in voting. When you see a bond issue on your local ballot to build a new high school or a referendum to increase funding for the Parks Department, you are voting directly on the millage rate. You are participating in the process that determines how much the community will spend, and by extension, what the tax rate will be for you and all of your neighbors. That is the engine of property taxes. On one side, you have the assessor determining the market-based value of your specific property. On the other, you have your elected officials and your fellow voters determining the budget-based needs of your community. Your final tax bill is simply the intersection of those two forces, your value and the community's rate. Now you see the full picture. You understand how your home gets its value, and you understand how your community sets its rate. You know the what and the why behind that shocking number you see on your closing documents. But there's one final critical piece left. We've talked about how the system works, but we haven't talked about how you work the system for your benefit. How do you ensure you're not paying a single penny more than you absolutely have to? Because built into this complex system are a series of life rafts, discounts, and legal challenges that can save you a fortune. Things like homestead exemptions, portability, and other tax-saving programs that millions of homeowners are eligible for, but simply don't know exist. Understanding the formula is the first step. The final step is learning how to legally and ethically reduce your number within that formula. That is where we turn this knowledge into actual, tangible savings in your pocket. So how do we do it? How do we take that formula, assess value times mill rate, and legally shrink the outcome? The secret isn't in fighting the mill rate. That's a battle for City Hall, for politicians and town meetings. For you, the individual homeowner, the power, the control is all in that first number, your assessed value. Think of your property tax bill not as a final demand, but as an opening offer. The tax assessor's office is making a claim about what your home is worth, and you have every right to question that claim, to negotiate, and to present a counteroffer backed by evidence. This isn't about cheating the system. It's about making sure the system is working fairly for you. Your first mission, and this is the easiest one you will ever get, is to scrutinize your property record card. This is the official document the assessor has on file for your home. You can usually find it on your local assessor's website or get a copy by calling their office. Look at it like a detective. Does it say you have 4 bathrooms when you only have 3? Does it list a finished basement that's actually just a concrete slab and a water heater? Does it claim you have a 2-car garage when you only have a carport? Every single one of these errors is an overassessment. A single phantom bathroom can add thousands of dollars to your assessed value, costing you hundreds of real dollars every single year. Finding a factual error is like finding a typo in a contract that's in your favor. You simply point it out to the assessor's office, they correct it, and your bill goes down. It's the low-hanging fruit, and you would be shocked at how many people pay extra for years because they never bothered to check the paperwork. Next, we move from corrections to deductions. We're talking about exemptions. Exemptions are the single most powerful tool for reducing your property tax bill, and they are essentially the government's way of saying, we'll give you a discount. But here's the catch. In most places, they don't give it to you automatically. You have to ask for it. You have to raise your hand and claim it. The most common one, and the one every single primary homeowner should have, is the homestead exemption. This exemption can shave anywhere from $20,000 to over $100,000 off your assessed value, just for proving that you live in the home you own. It's free money you're leaving on the table if you don't apply. But it doesn't stop there. Are you a senior citizen? There's likely a senior exemption for you, which can sometimes freeze your assessed value altogether. Are you a veteran, especially one with a disability? There are significant, well-deserved exemptions available that can dramatically lower or even eliminate your property tax bill. Are you a person with a disability? There are exemptions for that too. There are even exemptions in some areas for installing renewable energy systems like solar panels. Go to your local tax assessor's website and look for the word exemptions. Find the list. Read every single one and ask yourself, could this possibly apply to me? Don't self-disqualify. Make the call. Fill out the form. The worst they can say is no. The best they can say is congratulations, you're saving $1,000 a year. Now for the main event. What if your property record card is accurate, and you've claimed every exemption you qualify for, but you still feel your assessed value is just too high? This is where you formally appeal your assessment. This sounds intimidating, but I want you to reframe it. You are not suing the government. You are having a professional disagreement about the value of an asset, and you are presenting evidence to support your claim. Your first step is reconnaissance. You need to build your case. Your argument is simple. My home is assessed for more than it's actually worth. How do you prove that? With comps. Comparable sales. You need to find 3 to 5 homes in your immediate neighborhood that are as similar to yours as possible. Same basic style, square footage, number of beds and baths, that have sold in the last 6 to 12 months for less than your current assessed value. The county's own sales records are public information. Websites like Zillow and Redfin, while not official, can be a great starting point to find recent sales data. If your home is assessed at $500,000 and you find 3 similar homes down the street that all sold for around $450,000, that is powerful evidence. That's your Exhibit A. Your Exhibit B is the condition of your own home. Your home's assessment is based on a model and algorithm. That algorithm doesn't know you have a leaky roof, a cracked foundation, or that your kitchen hasn't been updated since the 1980s. Take pictures. Get a repair estimate from a contractor for a major issue. This is evidence that your home's market value is lower than a perfect version of your home. You're not just complaining, you're documenting. With your evidence in hand, your comps and your photos, your next step is usually an informal review. You call the assessor's office and schedule a time to speak with someone. You walk in not with anger but with a folder. You calmly and respectfully lay out your case. Hello. I believe there might be an error in my assessment. My home is valued at X, but here are 3 nearly identical homes that recently sold for Y. Additionally, my assessment doesn't seem to account for the need for a new roof, and here's an estimate for that work. Often, if your case is strong and you are professional, the assessor will agree to a reduction right then and there. They want to get the value right, and they want to avoid a formal hearing just as much as you do. But what if they say no? Then you proceed to a formal appeal. You file the paperwork, and you get a date to appear before a local appeals board. Again, this is not a courtroom with lawyers and a jury. It's usually a small panel of your fellow citizens, maybe a local real estate agent, an appraiser, and a community member. You'll have 5 or 10 minutes to present your case. You'll show them your comps. You'll show them your photos. You'll state your case clearly and concisely. You're not telling a sob story. You're presenting facts that show the market value of your home is lower than the assessed value. That's it. You're simply asking for fairness, for your home to be valued the same as your neighbor's. More often than not, if your evidence is solid, the board will rule in your favor. And here's the most important part of this whole process. This is not a one-time fight. You should review your assessment every single year. Did the market in your area take a downturn? That's a reason to appeal. Did a new highway get built behind your backyard, creating noise and lowering your property value? That's a reason to appeal. You have to be your own best advocate. Over these 10 parts, we've journeyed from the confusing dream of homeownership to the concrete reality of what it costs. We've demystified escrow, decoded closing costs, and stared down the beast that is property tax. The goal was never to scare you. The goal was to arm you, to transform you from a passive participant into an empowered owner. Your home is the biggest investment of your life, and managing its costs is just as important as choosing the right paint colors. Property tax is not a fixed, unchangeable law of nature. It is a number that you now understand, that you can check for errors, that you can reduce with exemptions, and that you have the right to challenge with evidence. You now have the playbook. You have the knowledge that puts you ahead of so many other homeowners who just sigh and write the check every year. Take this knowledge, apply it, and turn it into real savings that you can use to build your future, protect your family, and truly enjoy the home you've worked so hard to achieve.